If a true pole shift was about to happen the way these videos claim, this wouldn't be a normal day. Like, share, subscribe, and comment if you want more breakdowns like this. Let's take a look at what they're actually saying.
Probably heard that pole shifts happen, that the North Pole isn't always where the North Pole currently is, and that sometimes these things flip. That's always struck me as an extremely dangerous condition, and I always assumed, well, what are the chances you're going to be alive? You know, if you were alive within 500 years of a pole flip, that would be kind of a close call. But what are the chances it's going to happen during your lifetime? Well, we are actually living in a moment where the pole is actively migrating. We are in the midst of what's called a polar excursion. The pole seems to be flipping, and it seems to be flipping at the same time that our electromagnetic field of the Earth is decreasing. Now, that decreasing field means that what's flung off the sun has a bigger impact on Earth than it would ordinarily have, and that pole flip threatens chaos.
Pole shift, what to expect. This is 12 years worth of deep study, so it makes no difference to me whether you want to believe it or not. I know the truth. That means the oceans will slosh, causing worldwide coastal 500 FT plus tidal surges with it, reaching 1200 ft above sea level due to tidal bore. They have been building sea defense systems since I was a kid worldwide because they knew this day was coming. The wind will exceed 200 NR. There will be fast-moving cyclones, hurricanes. There will be sudden plasma storms, ice storms. You seen the film Day After Tomorrow or 2012? If you have, then that's the best depiction of a pole shift. Not only that, we will be getting meteorites raining down on Earth as we will be directly in the debris field of the system. Crustal displacement. This means huge geological changes. Some land will rise up, some land will go underwater. So I'd suggest being in a Creighton plate if you're near one. So in other words, in the hour of the pole shift, you need to be underground. In a cave, at least away from the coastlines and as high as possible. This won't be pretty at all. And I can't sugarcoat it because it needs to be known. So before war martial law, look out for big false flags. This is merely a way of gaining more control. Martial law will keep you exactly where they want you to be. And don't be fooled. They have an elite army that's paid for out of the black op funds, you know, the billions of pounds dollars that go missing every year without a trace. So don't think for 1 second they care if they lose the standard military. To them, they are expendable and there to keep everything going to plan. Come on. FEMA camps already pre-built all over the USA, ready and waiting to house the civilians that are left. Don't take my word for it, go do some digging. Yep, hard to believe, hard to swallow and hard to comprehend, but remember that this plan has been in the making for a very long time. The elite have underground DUMB cities built in preparation for all this. Go look it up yourselves if you question any of this. It's all coming together just as we expected it would. This happens every 3,600 plus years, as it makes its way back on its elliptical orbit. No, this isn't a normal cycle. Well, it depends what you class as normal because I suppose it's natural. The last pole shift is why there are cities underwater and why big boats were found in mountains. The plasma discharges in the atmosphere is what the ancient used to draw on walls. The dragon in Chinese prophecy is the plasma reactions that go from planet to planet as they draw close. The tribulation in the Bible is the crossing. Blue and a red Kachina in the Hopi prophecies are Nemesis and Nibiru. The destroyer is what they called it in Hebrew. The winged sun symbol is what they used in ancient Egypt, due to its looking like it has wings from the red iron oxide particles spewing off it as it makes its orbit around Nemesis. The ancient Sumerians called it the red dragon. Ancient Indians called it the winged serpent. Every religion has the same exact story, just interpreted in different ways. They had the same paintings, carvings all over the world without being able to contact each other, and all predate to over 3,500 plus years ago. It's about connecting the dots. The signs in the heavens that's talked about in Revelations is the plasma reactions and fireballs that ye are seeing now. The sound of trumpets in the Bible, which is being heard in some parts of the world, is crustal displacement that resonates off of the oceans and echoes through the atmosphere, along with the atmosphere being compressed with gamma rays that disrupt our magnetic field lines and cause the same trumpet sound. The huge increase in earthquakes and volcanoes is what's referred to in the Bible as birth pains. All the fish are dying by the thousands, birds are dying through magnetic field line disruptions, Land animals are being killed in the thousands before plasma storms. Because of this, the land dries up and all who live in it waste away. The beasts of the field, the birds in the sky, and the fish in the sea are swept away. Hosea 4:3. I've studied the Bible, the Sumerian tablets, and pretty much all over books of knowledge like the Kolbrin Bible, and it all categorically points to the crossing and all the effects leading up to it. Share. Pole shift has been happening for the past 25 years, and each year the geological changes have been increasing. 2016-2017 was the biggest jump in all the charts and was sudden. 2017-2018 was 10 times worse than 2016-2017. As we always warn, Earth changes will increase tenfold this year. This doesn't mean the rapid 1-hour pole shift will happen this year, but it does mean that all geological changes and indicators will increase exponentially this year. The core expansion is reaching breaching levels on the entire globe, and our jet streams are completely collapsing. The wobble is increasing, which means our magnetosphere is weakening, and harmful rays are breaking through our atmosphere. Ozone is depleting, which means we get multiple vortexes on the polar vortex. Earthquakes are increasing, volcanic activity is increasing, and the seafloor is beginning to drop, which means it's preparing for the plate shift, crustal shift. In all, the pole shift could come this year, but a hell of a lot has to happen yet. The geological changes we see now are very minor in comparison of what will occur in the days to come. All this is minor in comparison to a geological pole shift. Cascadia is minor but an indicator. Yellowstone is minor but an indicator. Madrid is minor but an indicator. Atlantic Ridge is minor but an indicator. These are minor events in comparison to a crustal pole shift, but are major in comparison to human life. So taking the precautionary action now is key to being able to survive these building up events that ends with the pole shift. Magnetic reversal pole shift is nothing compared to the geological pole shift. Magnetic reversal happens and then takes weeks for the crustal movements to take place. What we see now are just precursors. So all of the above is precursors to the pole shift, not the pole shift itself. War will be the main distraction, and that's the key to moving to safe locations, because martial law will be put in force so that you cannot move to higher ground, whilst the elite go and hide in their DUMB underground cities. Most will crush though. People will say, well, the military wouldn't do that to their own people. Wrong. They are just following orders and have no idea that this is all in preparation for the pole shift. To the elite, the standard military are expendable. They have a completely different elitist black op military for post-shift. Stay vigilant.
Folks, the governments and officials and NASA and NOAA and everyone involved with the World Magnetic Model is caught with their pants down. Again. Figured I'd be making this video in about 4 years, but here we are already. This recent preprint we covered in the morning show deserves a bit more detail and then an expansion beyond where we've already gone. This paper evaluated the magnetic field models against observational reality. Always a good idea, but in this case, a bad result. The field, once again, is changing faster than they thought it would, and it's not by a little bit. Globally, they have underestimated the changing magnetic field by 20 to 30%, most of that in the shifting of the magnetic poles. In the South Atlantic anomaly, over spread and deepening of the low field strength, they were 40 to 50% too low. Every single 5-year update, they tell us this is going to slow down, and it just doesn't happen. They told us that same thing at the beginning of 2025, and well, we said that was unlikely. This morning, we remarked that this underestimation of the pole shift bit them before, in 2019. They had to issue the first ever out-of-cycle release. They couldn't wait for 2020, they had to reissue because the shift had sped up so much. Now, just yesterday, at the AGU fall meeting, the team from an hour north of me ran their data for the world at the premier geophysical event on the planet. A secular variation pulse, which means a speed up of the rate of change in 2022, a geomagnetic jerk in 2024, and by early 2025, the brand new 2025 World Magnetic Model they told us would reveal a slowdown of the pole shift is already showing signs of forecast degradation. What a nice way to put it. The data is from the first half of the year only, so who knows where it is now. Now this is what we know. None of this is surprising to those who have been here for a while. They keep underestimating the pole shift, or at least they're telling us that they are. The shift is getting worse, and If they have to issue another out-of-cycle release before 2030, that would indeed be a sign to start flipping out. Folks, you need to be targeting this topic and dedicating some amount of time to staying up to date and to preparing. There are some links for that below the video. I'll see you in the morning for the daily show. Be safe, everyone.
So Earth's magnetic pole is shifted from our rotation poles, and it's not stationary, which meant if you were up in Canada, you couldn't use a compass to find north because it could be south of you. You check it lately. That North Pole has been moving, and it is now passing the North Pole on its way to Siberia. On top of all that, the magnetic field is getting weaker. We think it's going to get weaker and weaker until it goes away, and then when it comes back again, it'll be in reverse. We worry that when the magnetic field goes away to flip again, this is called a dynamo effect, that while it's not there, will it put all of us at risk? So we go back in the fossil record because it's flipped before. And if you go to the points where it has flipped, there's no periods of mass extinction. So I'm not so worried about it.
And oceans keep rotating. The sudden repositioning means regions that were temperate are now at the poles, and polar regions are now at the equator. Areas that were frozen become tropical, and tropical regions freeze solid. A temperature drop of 180 degrees means even the warmest parts of the planet are 80 below zero. Everything freezes solid within 4 hours. Thomas predicts a 90-degree shift to Earth's axis, basically turning the planet on its side. The poles move to the equator. The equator moves to the poles. New ice caps begin forming. Greenland and Antarctica emerge with verdant tropical foliage. New York lies at the bottom of the Atlantic, covered by unbelievable amounts of mud. Of San Francisco, Los Angeles, Chicago, Dallas, and Boston, not a trace is left. The cataclysm has done its work and drives the pitiful few who survive into a new Stone Age. Every culture has a flood myth. Abrahamic religions have Noah's flood. The Mayans have the Huracan flood. Ancient Hawaiians have the New Flood. The Sumerians wrote about a flood in Gilgamesh. Europe, Asia, Pacific Islanders, and native tribes from all over America. They all talk about a great flood that cleansed the earth. One myth is folklore. 2 myths are coincidence. 40 flood myths? This starts to look less like myth and more like actual history. 2. The evidence, geological proof of past cataclysms. Thomas provides specific dates for these cyclical floods. The Younger Dryas, about 11,500 years ago. Before that, a flood 18,500 years ago, exactly when the Bering Land Bridge went underwater. Before that, 29,000 years ago, the end of the Wisconsin Glacial period. And before that, 43,800 years ago. But Thomas says the most recent Great Flood wasn't 11,500 years ago. It was 6,500 years ago. In the 1960s, there was little proof of this. But a few years ago, archaeologists found evidence of exactly such a flood in China, the Mediterranean, and the Black Sea. These discoveries put the flood between 6,500 and 7,000 years ago, exactly when Thomas said it happened. When we look at erosion around the base of the Great Sphinx, we see patterns formed by running water, vast amounts of water moving at tremendous speeds. If this is water erosion, the Sphinx was created before the last flood 6,500 years ago, which is before the emergence of Egyptian civilization, according to mainstream archaeology. All over the planet, you'll see large ripples in the landscape. On the ground, these look like rolling hills, but they're actually about 50 feet high, the size of a 5-story building. And they were caused by water. A lot of water. These are giant ripples repeated across areas where there's nothing else like them. The only way to visualize this is to think of a tsunami sweeping over land that's over 1,000 feet deep, moving at 200 to 300 million cubic feet per second, an inconceivable amount of water. But global floods aren't controversial. We know they happened. What is controversial is the claim that advanced civilizations existed before each flood. Mainstream archaeology says the first civilization emerged in Mesopotamia 6,500 years ago. But what if that was just the last reboot? 3. The Lost Continents, Atlantis and Mu. In his dialogues, Plato introduced the world to Atlantis, the advanced utopian society destroyed in a cataclysm. Until definitive proof is found, it will continue to be considered mythical. But there's a geological feature in northwest Africa called the Richat structure, also called the Eye of the Sahara. It's about the right size and shape for Atlantis, concentric rings with what could have been a waterway flowing out. On the other side of the world, we have another lost continent, the land of Mu. Augustus Le Plongeon and James Churchward both translated ancient texts from the Maya.
That second possibility that the crust itself is just sort of is shifting and the mantle is staying in the same position. The first possibility is that there's just a movement of sort of electromagnetic poles.
Yeah.
The North and South poles stay in the same place, but
the axis of rotation could stay in the same place.
Right, okay.
And then the poles migrate to somewhere new. And my understanding is that migration is not the simple thing that I and probably you learned when you heard that there was a pole shift, where you hear it's like, whoop, it just flips over. They are migrating around, and actually the path of migration is something that is being tracked, not widely discussed for some reason, but it is being tracked, and it's accelerating, as I mentioned.
What's the risk of that, and how long does something like that take if we think back to our history?
Well, I'm coming to understand this, and what I'm recognizing is that the rate is far faster than I had understood, and that it's already underway. So that's an interesting fact. We're talking about on the scale of decades. We are in the middle of a solar maximum in the sunspot cycle. So that aurora that you saw, I guess, a month and a half or so ago, that was part of this very active period of sunspots in which we took a very substantial coronal mass ejection. That pattern of sunspots will wane, and we will go into a period of calm, during which presumably the magnetic field will continue to decrease, and then the sunspots will return 11 years down the road.
11 years?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I'm concerned that probably we get away with it. The level of decrease in the magnetic field is substantial, but that we still have enough protection from it that we will get through this sunspot cycle and be unscathed, and then we'll have a period of calm while the electromagnetic field continues to decrease. And then the next sunspot cycle will be much more perilous.
Your turn. What do you actually think is going on here? Put it in the comments. If you enjoyed this, like the video, share it, and subscribe. Stay sharp, stay grounded.